So thank you organizers for again offering this opportunity for us to present to you what is happening in chemical regulations globally. I will not be able to cover in 40 minutes all the countries, but I would like to cover the major countries that India is exporting chemicals and where major developments are coming since last 1 year, and in future developments are being will be enforced. So that's why the reason is that I am covering 4 countries today, and I know that everybody has lunch, so I hope I can keep you awake for next 40 minutes. So please bear with me, and thank you for coming this all the way in this summer. And let me start with what we are going to cover today. So this is the updates, and I thank Chemical Weekly and ChemExpo organizers again. So it's important that we keep these topics as part of these conferences, so people knows what is as manufacturers, people knows that what changes are coming in the chemical industry worldwide, also in India. So this is me. I'm Gagan Kumar. I am the Managing Director of ReachLaw India Private Limited, and I will also introduce you briefly about the company. Those who are aware of ReachLaw probably do not need introduction, as we are in India since 2008, and I was also the face of ReachLaw also since 2008 in different vehicles. But this is what I would like to cover today. So but these slides will be available through the organizers as well as the recording. So just focus on what I am talking, and if you have any questions, please save it for the Q&A session, and we will do some. And we are also present here as an exhibitor. So if you have any follow-up queries, you can come and visit us. I have also information about our booth and what products we have at the booth. So like I said, we are covering 4 countries today. So Turkey, UK, India and EU. Turkey and UK, I believe you are already aware of that there are deadlines, there are updates that are happening. So you must know what is happening next and where we are as of today. And then UK Reach, I will also be covering what developments are happening at the authority side. And important question is that when officially the registration deadline will appear in the law, and what changes you expect in the law also. So that is, and we do these webinars quite often. So if you have interest to know dedicated sessions on Turkey, UK, India and EU, I encourage you to register at our website, and it's free of cost. So you can access to these webinars given by experts coming from these countries. So I have some knowledge about these regulations, but when it comes to the specific on the operation side, I would encourage you to participate in these webinars. And India BIS, BIS is of course known to us. When we are childhood, our parents asked to buy ISI mark products. So similar ISI mark is now implemented in chemicals. So the manufacturers of chemicals are affected if your chemicals are mentioned in the mandatory license requirement or the mandatory ISI mark. And the government, the Department of Chemical and Petrochemicals recently hold a stakeholder event. I'm sure you are aware of every Thursday, the Industry Facilitation Cell, IFC, encourage companies, manufacturers to participate and share their concerns and obtain advice. So this is the part of the discussions with the FICCI that government is looking to add more chemicals to this list. Currently it holds only 60 chemicals. So I will also cover what updates you foresee this year, next year, and then I will also touch base European Reach. Of course, it is the basis of all the regulatory compliances we do. So I will not go into the EU Reach in details, but feel free to discuss. I am here today and tomorrow. And then we are also available via emails. So if you have specific questions, I am happy to answer those. So EU Reach also changing after 10 years. So you must know the regulations are not always same. And humans has different challenges we are facing with climate change. In Delhi, we have rains this month. We don't see the rains in April or March. So I guess there are some changes. So we have a lot of driving force is sustainability and regulations demand changes. So REACH is being changed after 10 years. So I will update what is going to be, and I think I covered last year also, but I can update what are the milestones now. And then what is coming next and enforcement. So you must know that there are changes in the law which is giving more powers to the customs to control the chemicals that are imported into the European Union. So this is the agenda. I'll quickly go to my company. Then for each country I have some slides, and please interrupt me if there are issues on the timeline. And then I will draw some conclusions, but these are more or less covered in my presentations, and when I'm speaking I might be covering some part of that. And then I'll spend some time in Q&A. ReachLaw in brief, we are a company who specializes in REACH. REACH is one of the quite comprehensive and unique law of industrial chemicals. It's an environment law which says that the chemicals which are used in the country are safe, and it has a very high level protection of environment and humans, and also now introducing animals with this REACH change. So our know-how, our experience is basically coming from the REACH. And when we started in 2006, we are also based in Helsinki, where the European Chemical Agency is located. And we've been providing these services since 2007 officially. And so our main areas of activities are REACH and REACH-like regulations. And then we are also looking into the sustainability, as we have a lot of requests from our customers that are looking to that how we can, what is sustainability, what is ESG, what things we can do as a chemical manufacturer or user. So we are present in these markets. So this is our head office, but we are mainly providing all REACH-like regulations using our subsidiaries in these markets. And India, we are based out of New Delhi. So as I said, we are now in 5 countries, and now more than 50 plus experts, we call consultants, who are working to support companies to manage this complex regulatory framework. And we have developed expertise not only in technical side but toxicological side. So it's like a doctor of chemicals, not like humans. So toxicologists basically work as doctors in the chemical industry, and they are important to understand whether chemical is safe when they see some data on chemical tested on the animals. So this expertise are common nowadays, and we are having expertise all in-house. And then we work with a lot of local partners because of language filling of the issues. And of course, there are support activity that partners provide. So as a company, we have quite significant exposure to the all chemical side. We also support government projects. These are long-term projects through tenders. We also do so, like European Space Agencies has hired us last year for verifying that what kind of products they should produce, which releases them from controls of chemicals, looking at the control on REACH side. So more information on statistics. We are now more than 60 countries. We are also growing on the customer side. And then these are some of the applications, regulatory filings we have do. So we have fairly good experience in handling all kind of regulatory submissions when it comes to the REACH compliances. This is where we are present as ReachLaw. So we don't have any partnership. So we always work as a subsidiary. If we want to work in that country, we will always work as a subsidiary. So this is some of our market access service. I will not go into the details, but this is looking into the all kind of representations, regulatory filings, notifications and things like that. And today we have launched our trainings in India. So I believe it's an auspicious day because Apple also launched a store at BKC today. So I believe maybe it's a good day. And we have done this in the morning with some stakeholders from the government, MSMEs and other associations and manufacturers. So we are looking to add more and more courses, and please visit us if you have some ideas or some suggestions that is what you need. But this is something we are doing only in India. So We are one of the foremost only representative. This is the term normally used when you register under REACH, and we have been representing several hundreds of non-EU companies. Those are coming from 60 plus countries. And whatever we talk are also uploaded at YouTube. So we have a dedicated channel. You can always go through these videos, and we are uploading. It's authority speaking. We are uploading. All interviews are also uploaded, and a lot of talks are there. So please feel free to subscribe and also like if you feel it has some element which you feel will help you. So as I said, we are specializing in regulatory compliance in chemicals and sustainability. And this is the disclaimer just for the purpose that the content is ReachLaw's content, and we believe that if anybody is applying this content, then they should consider also the law that they are coming from. So this is normal part of our presentations when we do. So looking at the chemical updates, I'll start with the European REACH because it has the basis of other controls. And when you have, or any company who is into chemical manufacturing has registered in REACH, one of the most important point I like to them to focus is this evaluation. Because once you have registered, it's not the end of the journey. You have to see that this registration is updated. And what is happening after registration, you don't know. So you need to see what kind of regulatory actions authority is taking. Unless until they clear the chemical off the block, the regulatory actions will continue in using the evaluation. Evaluation is one of the regulatory tool that authorities uses after getting your registration dossiers. And they can control chemicals, or they can apply further restrictions on the chemicals based on the findings of the evaluation. So evaluation is always handled manually. It's not digital, or you are submitting dossiers and you're getting numbers. But evaluation always happen manually. Some person at authority seeing your dossiers, making decisions. So you have to ensure that your dossier submitted correctly at the first place. Because if you use poor dossiers to get market access, you are not a responsible player. You are not respecting country regulation and providing information just to get access to the market. So I encourage that you must know this, and this is leading to the additional cost nowadays. So we have seen the additional cost ranging from 5,000 to 600,000 euros, and companies are saying that we have only paid 20,000 euros and now we are paying 10 times of that cost. How is it possible? So these things are important that companies should know, because these are the experiences we've been getting, and we would like to share this with you, that please, whosoever you work with, please understand the evaluation part of your registrations, so you know where your substance is lying in this pool of regulatory compliances. And I will not go into the details, but this is the information that eventually you have to make an update to your dossier based on the decisions. And important is because it's a cost, so you must know that this is one of the part that will lead to the additional cost, and you have to bear those costs depending upon where you are. So again, this particular slide is too technical and also may not be visible to the people sitting at the back. But I would like to emphasize that you can save on this cost when you have a decision at the draft stage. Draft is something that authority has alerted you with the findings of your dossier, and you have approximately 6 to 8 months time to react. So the 6 to 8 months time is basically your how we call draft decision, and this is the period that will help you decide whether you want to continue business with Europe or you pay the fee, and then you are clear that this is something you will get in future. If you don't decide, and this draft decision will come as a final decision after 8 months to 12 months, and then it means that you are obliged to pay the fee. You cannot say that it is something we will not pay. So that's why it is important that you know where your decisions are. So the decisions are related to your products, and it's a very open database. So you can see if you have a chemical cache number, you can see what is registered and how it is being evaluated. This is one thing. The second was the deadlines and changes in the REACH. So what I have covered is basically the The regulation which are already in force are these top 3, and some of them have implemented already last year. One of them is the additional testing requirements. So REACH has power to change the specific regulation using commission regulations, which means that they can see that, like we have orders and rules in India. We don't write rules every now and then, but we write orders. So the orders are based on the current consultation, and you feel that there are changes required. So this additional test is bringing additional cost maybe next year. So some additional tests are added for each annexures, for each tonnage band. If you register, you must know. And then this is only representative is the term which is used for non-EU manufacturers. And these only representative must declare their non-EU manufacturer details and the factory addresses also. So they want to control whether registration is correct or not. So that is why I have some updates. And then substance identification. Right now the dossiers are not checked manually, but I expect that this will also be checked in future. And you might get decisions that your dossier is not having right identity. So this is especially for nanoforms and UVCVs. These are again technical terms, but some decisions will come also on your identity related dossier. And then why I am mentioning this dossier update, which is important part of the number 4 and number 5, is that you have a deadline now to update your dossiers, which are usually 3 months to 6 months. And then this is another regulation which is giving you from 1st of January 2023, you need to ensure that your safety data sheets are meeting this regulatory requirement. Otherwise, your customer will ask you to update your safety data sheet, and you may not have enough time. So you must know that this is the regulation which is already in force, and the date of implementation is from 1st of January 2023. REACH revision is from March, recent paper from the European Commission. So that is basically the paper I have used. And in this paper, the information like the REACH changes are that now the authorities will ask you to submit chemical safety assessment in 1 to 10 tons registrations. So this is one of the major change, and I am only listing the major highlights. I am not listing the complete papers, which is too technical here. But this is the important changes that you will require, and this implementation will come in next 4 to 5 years. I will not say it will come immediately, but it will take couple of years. But please monitor this. And then if you are a polymer manufacturer, Europe is looking to demand registration for approximately 20,000 polymers. And right now polymers are exempted, but they are looking that polymers are also harmful, and they would require polymer registrations through this PRR scheme, which is a category of polymers. And you have to first notify your polymer, which category your polymers falls under, and then like basic dossier, and then registration. If your notification and authority says that you require to register, then registration will come. Registration again will have a deadline. So those discussions are happening right now. What kind of deadlines, what kind of testing requirements will not be same for polymers like chemicals. And then if you don't update your dossier in that timeline, authority will revoke your registration numbers also. It's not that it will stay forever and you get market access. So they will get more powers to revoke your registration numbers if those are not updated and it is lying there since many years. So this is something that you should consider. And I think in the authorization restrictions may not be many players, but there is possibility that they will relax this complex process and will make it more streamlined for the industry, because right now it's quite complex. And then they will have more auditors, more inspectors to audit the sites wherever the site specific compliances are, for example, intermediate registration, safety data sheets, and exposure scenarios and things like that. Especially the chemical safety assessment, whether these are implemented at site or not. And then customs will also be, I think the automated system will be there to check your registrations. and safety data sheet compliances. So more and more control will be given through this REACH revision involving customs. And right now the current enforcement projects, there are 2 projects running, which has operations activity, means the inspectors will audit or inspect in 2023 are your chemical control at customs. So they will check your maybe registration certificate, and they may ask you to also include the restriction certificate or provide a restriction certificate separately to clear the goods. So REACH has a restriction, there are certain chemicals which are restricted, so you need to provide a certificate like HVACs. If you have been doing HVACs compliances, similar registration for restriction, you need to provide this compliance to access or get your goods cleared in the customs. And then safety data sheet, this is the new requirement. Somehow my pointer is not getting there, but this is the Annex 2 is the new requirement where the safety data sheet will be, it was inspected in 2019 and it will again be inspected in 2013. This is the EU, and then UK. I have more slides in UK, but let's see. So this is only for the statistics for UK. If companies are covering, because UK regulation came in force because European Union says that UK should not be part of the EU. So now the UK has a separate country as such, and they also adopted the REACH like similar regulation like REACH of Europe. And certain regulatory filings were already happened last 2 years. So this is coming from that statistics. But in UK REACH right now registrations are very low. If you see, only 20 to 30 registrations compared to 1 million notifications. So the reason is that people are not still clear whether they should register or may not be selling that much in UK, and they are waiting for what kind of updates will come. And also I see the inquiry is only 5,000. So 5,000 is very low number compared to 1 million, and means the company are still waiting to see what will happen, and especially on changes of the regulatory requirement. So UK, there are, I would suggest that you should follow the authority websites to see what changes are coming, or maybe attend our sessions to know, because then you can interact better with your customers. Some of the changes or comparison I would like to share, that similar requirements are there in UK, that you have to eventually register your chemicals after notification, and there are deadlines which are already there, you will see in the next slides. But these deadlines are in question, and there was a voting last year which ended, I think September or October started, and government was looking that should we extend the registration deadline. So most of the companies are always saying yes, you should extend the deadline. And then the extension was proposed like 3 years for each deadline. So we will see that registration deadline was previously basically 2023 this year, October, but now right now there is no law. So which means the deadline stays 27th of October 2023 for the companies who are exporting more than 1,000 tons or having CMR substances. Current deadline is 2023, but the government is running projects to extend this to 3 years, which is 2026. And then next deadline is for 100 to 1,000, which is 2025, and it is again 3 years is 2028. Similarly for 1 to 100 tons 2027, and it will be 2030. But the issue was this particular deadline, which is in October this year. So if law doesn't change and you don't see changes in the law, then this deadline remains. Okay, this is very important. So that's the reason I suggest you to follow these developments very carefully and make decisions accordingly. So this was the voting. 3 options were given, and industry selected option 1, which is the plus 3 year extension to each deadline. And the voting option 1 is 82%, as I said, is giving this, and this is what the decision they are going to implement. And of course large companies, businesses commented more. So 123 companies suggested that it should extend. So DEFRA is like our DCPC. So that is something the department is controlling this voting. And we are expecting these deadline as transitional new deadlines. This is not final, but we expect that this will come. Right now you have options to see whether your chemicals are correctly notified or who else has notified. You don't see right now. So you, for that I have some recommendations in my future slides. The deadline, this is more related to the fact that if the law doesn't change before 27th of October, then there is an emergency legislation process in UK. They can make an emergency legislation which probably can extend this first deadline, not the other deadline, but the first deadline. So this is also, there is a risk, but there is a possibility of emergency legislation. But as I recommended, that please follow this legislative process and only rejoice when the actually you see the legal text has been notified, not before. And this is the next section. I issue a warning because this is ReachLaw comments coming from the discussions with the stakeholders and the authorities that probably they will change the registration requirements also. So this is something I would say that it's very highly speculative, so please take it with the large pinch of salt. But this is the two-track process that authorities also considering that they will only invite registration for high concern chemicals. And with high concern, you can say like HVHCs are falling under similar definitions. And that registration will be same like what is right now, like EU REACH, dossiers or same content will be there, and then the chemical safety report. So that is something, the same process for high concerns. And of course this list will be available or some criteria will be there like PBT or VPVP or something else will be there, similar to the HVHC criteria. And then with substances of lesser concern will follow different route of registration, and it will only be having substance hazard profile. In the next slides, number 1 and number 2 I have defined based on the publicly available data. So it's very, if you know these things, then you can do or you can provide the dossier content to your consultant also. And then company specific risk assessment. This is the only document which has to be created with experts, and then the regulatory filings will follow. So you see very less data access possibility, so the cost will be very nominal. And since authority has to review less content dossiers, so the fee will also be reduced by the authorities. So this is the substance hazard profile, and if you to discuss this, you need to be in the substance group. So in UK you have to be in the part of like CEF in EU REACH, you need to submit the inquiry. You cannot be part of substance group by DU, IN, or you can be part of only with the NRA, which is the like deferred registration. So this is the important that you should be part of this group. So that's why I was suggesting that please do consider inquiry submissions using your current dossiers of EU and see what is happening there, and discussions are already started or what is happening. So but to have this discussion you need to be part of this group. Some information I have covered, but this will be compiled in the software and then this fee would apply. So this is the substance hazard profile, and standard dossier set will be also provided by authority. Company specific risk assessment is more coming from your chemical safety report. Only the exposure section will be covered, not the toxicological or other, but based on your first filing you will cover the safety and the exposure assessment report. This is also, the content is not available, but these discussions are happening. So like I said, this is quite speculative, but if it is happening, then it will take this kind of shape. Then companies will only need to provide full data if your chemicals are most concerned or part of this listing. And this is also the recommendation from DEFRA that you should consider inquiring under UK REACH to know what is happening with the substance group. So you are actually part of the system, you are not sitting outside this group, and you know what regulatory updates are happening, what kind of sharings and everything you are part of. So, and this will help you to expedite registration also. Then I think on Turkey, I would say the important part is, of course, everybody's here wants me to maybe raise this question whether deadlines will be extended or not, because end of this year, December is the deadline for Turkey to register your chemicals regardless of volumes you sell to Turkey. So there is only one deadline, which is 31st of December 2023. Right now, there are no update from authority that this deadline will be extended. So as on today, I would say that deadline remains as 31st of December 2023. Now, you have 3 similar quantity band registration, but deadline is same. Requirements are different, deadline is same. So that is only the difference in Turkey. Rest is same. And if you don't register by this deadline, means you cannot access Turkey market without registration. After 1st of January 2024, you cannot access market without registration, and until that period, you cannot do business. So your business will not be there in Turkey until you apply for registration and you receive your registration. And whatever you have done will also be obsolete, so you have to start fresh. This is how it is written as on today. And this is the basis of, as I said, it has 4 registration deadlines, and registration is same as European REACH regulation. The only difference in Turkey is that they don't use a separate software to make the dossiers. They make dossiers using the system which is embedded in the submission portals, and which means that there is no standalone software, and it's all Turkish language. So you are highly dependent upon the consultants because it's not English language. Other 2 regulations will have the English language, but not Turkey. This is the important that translation fees might be quite expensive. So please always request for what are the translation fees, whether these are included in the cost or it will be additional. And then the registration, I think I will not go into again the details. The registration requirements are similar to the REACH. And then they have the same concept of lead and co-registration. So that is also same. Again, but the issue is that there are not many lead registrant that has come up in Turkey, and that is why the government is considering whether we should extend or what we should do. So, so this is the important that somebody has to register before you can register by 2023. Joint submission is mandatory, so you cannot just register on your own. And these are some of the fees which was revised recently because of the high inflation in Turkey. They cannot maintain the same fees like EU. So they have revised these fees, but these are again still quite nominal, starting from 100 euros to 1600 euros. So this is compared to the other regulatory authority fees, these are quite nominal. But this is the authority fee that has to be paid in addition to the data fee and the consultant fee. But I've covered this one slide on the cost also. This is also the same. I think I will skip this part, but then this is the system. If you happen to see, maybe it's not quite clear text, but this is the screenshot from the authority portal that for acetone, how it appears. You can see your company's names and who has registered or who has pre-registered is available here. And lead registration, I think, as I said, not many companies have registered, but this is something should happen by now so that companies can complete their registrations. Usually the lead registration is a company who has also registered in European REACH or has access to the data in the highest volume band. So they are probably the serious player in the market. You must be knowing your competition also, so you can see that this is right, the potential company. So that is something I think, but without lead registration, you cannot complete your registration. So means that you are highly dependent upon this appointment. Again, this process is same, so I will not go. This is similar to what EU REACH is concerned. In the dossier content is also same. So you have to consider similar information that you have used for European REACH, for Turkey REACH. So there is no difference. Only thing is this information will be posted or used in the regulatory submission in Turkish language. Some chemical safety report can be used in English, but it is for temporary arrangement. They may still require some safety assessment in Turkish in future. So, so the dossier content and the process remain same, and the lead registration process, I have one slide, but this is something people are already aware of who have registered in other jurisdiction. The process is same. So the important is that by Q2 2023, you should be able to, I'm not sure whether how many companies have registered in Turkey. From my experience, these are very low numbers still today. So we don't know whether companies would be able to complete the registrations by the deadline. Still, we expect that please follow your communications very efficiently, and follow-up is required so that you see that registration is completed, and you need to have registration by December, so means you need to start somewhere October. So 2 months time is required to complete your registration. Then this is also the process. I will also skip this part. This is similar to what I have explained earlier. In Turkey, REACH registration, important is that one must negotiate the letter of access fee to the extent based on the experience. So we have seen that these fees are having no control on the coming from the regulation. Means that there is no, of course there is a law, but there is no law like Europe to share the data. So there are always areas that you should always feel that it is done in fair, transparent, non-discriminatory way. So always try to see that the data that is, or the cost they have provided is completely itemized, and you are aware of this, how it is calculated. So everything should be clear to you if it is quite expensive. And Turkey letter of access cost, from our experience, in 1 to 10 the maximum cost is somewhere up to 20,000 euros, and for 10 to 100 maximum cost we have seen is 60,000 euros. And when I have interacted with companies, they say that at this cost we will rather not sell in Turkey. So please see what is this cost, because this is the decision making fee for you. So but this has to be negotiated. I will not say that it is always possible to negotiate, but at least see that this is done correctly. So the 3 type of cost elements are there in Turkey. Of course, the work is your consultant fee, then in the gray is the authority fee, and in the blue is the data fee, which is controlling more than 90% of the cost share. So this is something important to see and know before you decide your registration. And on the India, I will also have few slides, but I will quickly explain you that the Bureau of India's, this is the known from many years already, coming from the Ministry of Consumer Affairs. Department of Consumer Affairs is the ministry controlling this authority with the head office at New Delhi. But they have different line of ministries. So you can see that 14 line ministries are there. Each ministries has their own products, consultation with the associations that what should be added. But we are only focusing on chemicals. So 60 chemicals coming from Department Chemicals and Petrochemicals are added in this list, and this list has been growing since last 2 to 3 years. And we expect more chemicals to be added in coming years also. So please please stay updated, and this is you can generally get this information at DCPC website also. Ministry has changed their website outlook recently. I will not go process wise. I think it's a completely different subject, because I am looking for only regulatory updates in this session. But if you have interest in this process timeline, of course, this presentation is known to you, available to you. We have webinars, but I will not cover everything here. But this process takes under option 1, 90 days, option 2, 30 days. So please see that you understood the requirements. So, and then you have to also look into the label. You have to fix this ISI label in your packaging. Those things that have also needs to be counted and when you apply for your sale of your products. It's a one-time fee, but then it has a renewal also, and a lot of forms, technical standards which is your product has to be followed. So please see what is there for your products. A lot of guidance, documents and everything is available. So it is something that you should consider. And always remember, for this license your factory will be inspected. In which district location you are, the BIS officials will come and inspect. Testing required by the third party laboratories as well as your own testing will be inspected, equipments will be inspected, and your process plant packaging will be inspected also. Then in addition to this, annually I think you need to pay for this mark. So it's a marking fee for the product that you have to pay based on the quantity you sell, and this is also you should consider, and for each product has a marking fee in rupees per unit, and unit is defined by your packaging size. So I will speak this for the foreign manufacturers, but there are certain requirements of the authorized India representative for the foreign manufacturers here also. And the fee under BIS for the foreign manufacturers, it varies for domestic, but foreign manufacturers it's quite expensive also, somewhere around $26,000 to $30,000, including bank guarantee, which is $10,000, and timeline is also beyond 6 months. So you have to start early if you are dealing with or you are importing certain chemicals produced by your supplier which is based out of India. But this is something how the split is there. And conditions of license is also important, that conformity, and it has a renewal process, so your factories can anytime be inspected in future, but it's one time inspection, and otherwise your product has to be tested at regular intervals. So with this I will conclude. For the European reach, I think important is that you understand this information, requirements, obligations, evaluation for the additional cost, and dossier update has a deadline now, and reach revision and enforcement will have an impact again. So you are looking to work again with your submissions. For UK reach, look for this extension of deadline, whether it is happening before October 2023, whether there is any change in the registration requirement also. So please follow this authority pages for updates. And Turkey reach, there is no official extension at the moment. So the deadline remains end of this year, and I would register that if you are looking to register, please start now. For the BIS, around 76 chemicals quality control orders were notified, not notified, but under pipeline, will be notified soon. So in addition to those 76 chemicals will be also coming under the license requirement. And government is also discussing with BIS to look for updating the industrial standards to meet the global requirements, that it should meet the ASTM and other international accredited standards, and some quality control orders of another chemicals which are coming from the hazardous chemical rules. All the international chemical conventions will also be added to this requirement. So please see whether this, because if I add all, it will go above thousands of chemicals. So please see how this development is happening, and because it has a license requirement, factory inspections, and you have to plan in advance, and of course it's a cost for company. So with this I will end this session now, and we are also, as I said, today we launched our chemical regulatory training courses in India. Okay, so then I think we are, for the organizer size, I think I can take a couple of questions.
Hello. So you had mentioned something about MSME. I have a question. We have understood that there is 45 days delay in the payment between a supplier and a buyer. So is there any regulation that this number of days has increased or reduced currently?
Maybe your question is may not be for me, but MSME, the term I used is that for regulations, when we register chemicals, the authorities has certain fees for companies to register products, and per product you have to pay per fee. For large companies it's a maximum fee, and for MSMEs it is reduced to 30% or 50%, depending upon your size. But my comment for MSME is linked to your fees of registration, not looking at the supplier and relationship that you explained. Probably MSME or another industry association might help you with your question.
Okay, thank you so
Sorry.
much.
First of all, thanks for the wonderful presentation. My question is, has Indian government identified 9,000 chemicals that come under new standard development?
Uh, they have identified, I think you can participate in this industry facilitation cell if you are representing a manufacturer. Then you can contact DCPC, they have email address, and I think Dr. Vishal Chaudhary and somebody you will receive. He is the advisor there, and Mr. Punia is there. So they both are getting comments from the industry to see what kind of updates and things, and then they will connect you probably with the BIS to see what kind of 9,000 standards, or is there any kind of inventory which is already in place. But they will connect you with the right, because standard division is a separate division at DIS. So go through this channel that you want to know more, and you heard from the recent meeting that this is now coming up and you have an interest. So you can also voluntarily apply for BIS license. Don't wait for these chemicals to come. It is up to you. If you want to use Make in India or ISI mark, then do that.
Thank you.
Plus do this industry facilitation cell and see what they can do.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi Gagan.
Hello.
My question is, what are the latest update regarding India Reach?
Again a good question, but I would say India Reach, there were some developments way back in 2020, and after that no update has come from the government, and we don't see this is coming in that shape in near future. So I will not say any comments on the years, but it may not come in that shape in near future. So maybe some stakeholder consultations may happen again, because when you see the draft is in that stage for so many years, the changes are bound to happen, and that is the reason that it may not come in that shape. If it is coming, then there are certain changes on the handling of these compliances because of the less timeline, and what resources or the infrastructure we have may not be equipped to handle these compliances.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome. So no more questions. Maybe I think then thank you again very much, and thank you organizers for again participating and inviting us. We will always be happy to come and share our thoughts. Thank you.